All right, so scammers, man, scammers. I'm going to show you something. I got a call today, um, and it nothing about it felt right. But then again, nothing about who they said they were have felt right to me. So I wasn't sure what was going on. I got a phone call and called back the number, and it answered Bay County Sheriff's Office. And I thought, well, damn, sounds like it really is the Bay County Sheriff's Office. And they transferred me over to who they said was Captain Smiley. And there is a Captain Smiley. And I thought, this is crazy. And it got real confusing because they said it was about a civil matter. But then again, turns out you didn't show up as a grand juror for grand jury duty yesterday morning. And you need to take care of this before you end up behind bars. What the hell? Yeah, you live at this address, is your birth date and all this stuff. And it kept going on and on how I needed to take care of this before, whatever. And I said, wait a second, this can't. They said, yeah, you signed a summons in April. And I thought, I don't remember signing a damn summons for April. So I hung up and called and talked to some lawyers. And they said, this doesn't sound right at all. Right. They looked into it. So probably this is not real. I said, now, are you sure? Because I've seen what Sheriff Tommy Ford and State Attorney Bassford will do to like officers of the court. I've seen the things they will do to people, and it doesn't have to be real. They just want to hurt you. Then they'll drop it, and nobody ever pays a price for it. So I was thinking, what the? It was weird. It was insane. It was intricate, by the way. So what I'm going to show you right now is when I called the number back, and the guy claims to be the Bay County Sheriff's Office and claims to be Captain Smiley at the Bay County Sheriff's Office. It wasn't. It was a scam, but it was intricate enough, again, with other factors for me, that I didn't know what the hell was going on. And if they can for a while get me spun up, I'm pretty plugged in. They can certainly trick other people. So I'm going to show you this short video before I show you a recent debate where Sheriff Tommy Ford got demolished by Andy Husar, who's running against him. The election is next month. So I'm going to show you that debate. The audio is not great, but we'll walk through it because it's important, the things that are said. But first, let's begin. I will show you. When I called back, to the scammer, and you're gonna hear and see me, you're gonna see exactly what how it went. Notice that I asked if it was being recorded. Right, that's sort of my check mark that both sides are recording. That they know the phone call is recorded. So, plus it's a scammer, and I wanted to inform, educate, and maybe just maybe entertain a little bit. Here's how it went when I called them back. This was today.
Bay County Sheriff's Department, how may I help you?
Hi there, I'm calling for Captain Smiley.
10-4, that'd be correct. That's me.
Okay, I was hoping to talk to Sergeant Gibson.
Okay. Did you have your? Okay, this is Captain Smiley. You speaking with?
Oh, okay.
He has updated me up on your procedures. Now, do you have your fine amounts?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I told you that I understand something too. When they called me back, it shows up on the phone like Bay County Correction or Bay County Sheriffs or something. So when I tell you this was an intricate operation, it really kind of was. None of it felt right. None of it sounded right. But then again, my recent experiences with the sheriff's office haven't either. So here we go. Call back. Before we get started, can I double check, make sure this is this call is being recorded by on your end?
Yes, sir. This call is being recorded always on my end, sir.
Right, at the sheriff's office. And
All right.
yeah, and can I please get your Captain Smiley? Can I please get your badge number?
My badge number is 3216.
That's not real. But also remember, as this goes on, this is not, and that's why I have it up there. This is not the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Is not Captain Smiley. All right, I'm just sort of playing this guy along here for a minute to make sure. 3216. Okay, got it. Yeah, I told you, I can't believe I missed grand jury duty yesterday morning at Judge Walker. And
Okay.
yeah, and so now I've got this failure to appear in contempt of court, and I need to get, what'd you say, $2,025. Is that right?
I say your bond is 20,000. You have to post 2,000. You have a $4.95 processing fee that they will charge to process your citation.
Yeah. Okay, so and then I need to I'll just bring this to you before we go to the sheriff's office.
No, sir. You will get. Do you have your fine amounts with you, sir? Are you ready to proceed, sir? Are you in your vehicle?
No, I can get to my vehicle. I'm just see, the bad news is I'm calling you back after I told you I'd call you back by 3:45. But the bad news is nobody would give me any cash. So
Okay,
I don't
sir.
have money for bond. Am I going to jail?
Sir, just call back when you have your funds, okay, sir?
Listen,
don't call back until you have your funds so I can process this, okay?
I know how serious this is.
Put it down as a non-contact.
No, don't do that.
Call back when you're ready.
Oh, non-contact, not. But I am complying. See, earlier in the phone call, he was much more convincing, and he said that since there's been contact made, and I wasn't at the grand jury as a grand juror, which I'd been summoned to yesterday, that since contact was made, that I had to take care of this right away to avoid the booking process. All right. Again, remember, my dealings with the sheriff's office, this was within the realm of something. Hey, they circled my house looking for AirPods. Okay. I thought, oh man, they're going to do this. So at this point, again, I've talked to attorneys, and I was assured this was a scam. So I said, no, don't put me as a don't do what you said earlier. Is what I'm saying here. Watch.
Yes, you are. Just call back when you are ready, sir.
One thing, but I want to take care of this right away. One thing I was able to get, I couldn't get any money, but I was able to get a Shaquille O'Neal. It's like a figurine. It's worth like $500, and also a Kobe Bryant one. I also had some friends send me some German Steins that are like, you could probably sell this for at least 1,000, and I can round these up, and maybe we can take care of everything today, so I don't go to jail. Captain Smiley, Captain Smiley, Sergeant Gibson. I'm a nervous wreck. I just don't remember signing anything for grand jury duty. In April, I signed something. Maybe I did. You see, I drink a lot, and maybe that happened. Maybe when you came over, then the signature is going to be kind of weird. Captain Smiley. I have an Akeem Olajuwon one as well. I have Jerry West. I've been trying to sell these for a while. Maybe this will be an opportunity. Both of us maybe split the money. What do you say? Captain Smiley? Oh, man, need to take care of this. 850-448-3687 is the direct number to Captain Smiley, who sounded exactly like Sergeant Gibson last time I was on the phone with him. You might have hit the mute button. I think maybe you hit the mute button, or your cheek might have hit the mute button. One thing I'm trying to do, if I end up going to jail because I didn't show up at Mark Walker, you said it was Judge Mark Walker? Can you give me those numbers again? Hello? Oh, boy. Just make sure you mark me down as remember, I had a long conversation with this guy earlier, and when he called me back, the phone did say, it did identify as Bay County Sheriff's Office or something like that. All right. So earlier, the guy had me spun up for a little while. This is me calling back, knowing it's a scam. No contact. All right. You have not contacted me yet. How come the sheriff's office, by the way, I was going to ask you, Captain Smiley, how come the sheriff's office is collecting bond as a civil procedure to make sure I don't get booked tonight if I don't pay you the cash money? Hello? Oh, hell, I think we got a bad connection. Maybe if you surround the home again tonight, and if you surround my home again with the sheriffs again, like you did on August 19, 2022, you remember, looking for AirPods. If you do that, and you have investigator Alvin Eiler again sneak around on his tiptoes, have him wear the pink shirt. That'll be the tell. And what I'll do is I'll be in her son's bedroom this time, pretending to play video games. And what I'll do is I'll slip the money outside the window. See, I'll slip it out the window if I see a pink shirt. But if there's a green uniform, or if it's anybody but Eiler, it's a no-go. That'll be our sign, okay? That'll be our sign. All right. Blink twice if you... All right, I'll look for you guys tonight. Have Eiler wear the pink shirt, and I'll stick the money out the back window, or maybe one of these German Steins instead, or possibly I'll bring the Olajuwon. I'll bring the Kobe just to play it safe. All right, I appreciate you working things out with me. I was pretty spun up there for a little bit until I realized you were going to help me out. By the way, where were we going to meet? Where was I going to meet you with the cash before I went to the sheriff's office? This is the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Can you see that? Can you see the number? There we go. Oh, he hung up. These... they had me going for a minute because I thought, well, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you.
Hand caught in the cookie jar? Sometimes bad habits continue even into adulthood. I'm El Saulene, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, so there is a intricate scam going around, and the first couple times I spoke to the dude, I was not sure, but that was really for education and entertainment. But the sheriff's office does a decent job communicating with the community about these kind of scammers. So it happened to me today. Let's get to the big debate though that took place recently. And it's Sheriff Ford. The audio is not real great, but it gets better though, because this was sort of unanticipated. They thought they were going to give just a few comments, but the people wanted a full-on debate. And boy, we learned a lot about the sheriff and about Andy Husar, who retired as a captain from the Bay County Sheriff's Office and is running against Tommy Ford. And the election is next month. Let's take a listen.
And the community also manages our school resource deputies. If children are not safe in schools, then they're not going to be able to learn. And our education is not going to be successful. So we put a lot of effort into making sure they're safe in schools. I could talk to you for 2 hours about active shooter training and active shooter incident management. But what I want to tell you is that the key to successfully integrating with our community, with law enforcement, and keeping kids safe in schools, our school resource. We've been able to increase the size of that program and add at least two school resource deputies at every high school. And those school resource deputies don't just sit in their office and wait for something bad to happen, or aren't there to just arrest kids when kids break the law. They're there to be mentors, coaches, and friends. And I can't tell you the impact that the school resource deputy program has had on kids in Bay County. And I think it's it keeps them safe, as well as it teaches them to have a relationship with law enforcement, as well as being a mentor, a friend, and a coach to kids. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to watch your comments as this goes along. Tell me, and I'm looking at the comments now. There's only 2 right now, but tell me if you agree or disagree with each of these 2 candidates. I want to get sort of a pulse. I think Andy Husar did a great job, and you know how I feel about Tommy Ford. But I want to see your comments as this goes on. If you'll reply to what you're hearing, I'm going to watch and comment.
So just to repeat, we're gonna did I get it right? Is it Andy Husar? Okay, so he's gonna speak first, and then you can ask the question, so both can answer. I keep it just as much as possible.
Good afternoon. For the few that don't know me, my name is Andy Husar. I'm running for Bay County Sheriff. Been in law enforcement for 25 years. Combat veteran with the Army, active duty with the Navy. And I want to parrot on what you were saying about voting and how important it is. Before I decided to run for office, I was ignorant on how many people don't vote, how bad voter apathy is in Bay County.
Very bad.
If you look at the statistics for voting, less than 24% of the registered voters in Bay County get out and vote and express their concerns of the issues. One thing I was absolutely shocked with was the municipal election. Can't change the status quo unless you get out and voice your opinion and your concern. Second thing I like to commend you about is holding law enforcement accountable. When I was a young deputy, I loved doing traffic. I loved writing tickets. I thought it was my job. But then I grew up and realized that it's not the government's job to make money. It's the government's job to educate. When Sheriff McKeith was the sheriff, he pulled me aside one time and told me a story. He said, here's an example. I stopped you for speeding. You're a mom. $268 ticket. I write you that ticket. You can't afford to pay that ticket within the 30 days. What happens next? You lose your license. You get suspended. You get stopped again. You may get the officer that uses the discretion and writes you a ticket for the suspended driver's license. You may have to go into the county jail. $500 bond for driving while license suspended. You already couldn't pay for the speeding ticket. Now you can't pay your cash bond to get out of jail. How long you sit in jail for? Months. And where education would have been the better way to approach it the first time. Don't get me wrong. There are people that the only way you're gonna educate them is to write it down on a piece of paper and say, you've been told so many times. Bay County technology, it's great. If I was a deputy and I stopped you, I can put your name in the system and I can see how many tickets or warnings or contacts we've had with you. There's some people that don't quite get it until you write it down and you slap them on the hand.
This is as good as I can make the audio, but I'll do my best to reiterate some of the important things they say.
The Veterans Court. When I was over in Iraq, there were a lot of people who came back from Afghanistan and Iraq.
PTSD.
I call damaged goods. They make some poor life choices, but give them the opportunity in the Veterans Court. I agree 100% with the Veterans Court. Give them that chance. Now, there are some that they have to go to jail, they have to go to prison. But how are they helping society by sitting in the county jail for 4 to 5 months on a second-degree misdemeanor charge? Education first. The other thing, Mr. Bell, to answer your question, community outreach. I remember back when I was a rookie deputy, Panama City used to have officers and substations within the housing project. Why that program's gone, I have no idea. Why there's become a disconnect in this county between law enforcement and citizens, I can't answer that question. But I talk to people every day. My phone rings from 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's an interesting point that Andy Husar just made. Do you agree? I certainly do, that there is a bigger disconnect between the sheriff's office and the community, people in the community. Now, and especially under Sheriff Tommy Ford, when he had the jail so overcrowded that they were sending overflow inmates for years to Washington County and spending $2 million a year to do it, just overflowing the jails because they're throwing everybody in jail. And then on the other side, the prosecutors don't have an intake prosecutor to determine and vet the cases to decide. You get people wrongly arrested who sit in jail for months before they ever even get to talk to a defense attorney, a public defender, which is why Eric Garman is so important. He's running for the state attorney's office. Eric Garman and Andy Husar is running for sheriff. Eric Garman is running for the lead prosecutor. They are big underdogs. But if you want law enforcement that treats people right and prosecutors treat people right, which means put bad people, criminals with real victims, put them away in a way where they serve what they're supposed to serve. All right? Where they don't get out on technicalities and other stuff. These two guys are, these are the biggest races that I can ever remember in Bay County.
From 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock every night, because I want to get out to the communities and listen to your concerns. Get your ideas and figure out what's going on. You know, have you go and say, hey, no one's been in my neighborhood for so long. Do community events, get out and talk with them. Get out with the community churches, talk with them. Yes, there is a barrier between law enforcement and the communities. Unfortunately, it's been like that back to the 50s and 60s. I'm not going to try and fool you and say we can fix that and make that barrier go away. But we can work on that barrier, get back with the people, sit down, find out what their concerns are and talk to them. I can tell you, past 8 months, talking with people, going in groups, having fun, meeting people, the most open, loving, caring, accepting people that have sat down and talked to me. Dr. Wood and the group, the NAACP. I had amazing conversations with their concerns that they have. They don't want to be like the big cities like Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, the 100-mile club. We need to continue doing that, working with the community. I'm a very big proponent of community-oriented policing, started back in the 1960s. Simply put, it's right down the road with your window rolled down. Seeing somebody sitting on the front porch, stopping and talking with them. Stopping and get something to drink. Have a conversation with the clerk. How you been and what's going on? What's going on in the neighborhood? How you been? Everybody has that one person in their neighborhood that knows.
Everybody.
In the neighborhood knows everybody that's doing wrong. Find out who that person is and talk with them. Walk up and shake their hand. Don't let that person see you as the badge and the gun. I want them to see me as Andy, not the badge. So that's a very important thing. Getting with the community activists. I learned some stuff from this young lady today. I'm something I would love to talk more later about. But that's how you do this with law enforcement. There's no reason why it's getting worse than that. If you look at the statistics, I sat down and looked at the statistics for Bay County through the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's numbers. It's called the Florida Incident-Based Crime Reporting System. It's numbers anybody can pull. Crime may be down overall 38%, but reported sexual batteries in the last 8 years are up 74.4%. Bay County as a whole in the past 8 years, homicides are up a little over 28%.
That's interesting. Sheriff Ford has been, quite frankly, lying. He's been saying, and this is the first time I've ever heard it corrected, that since he took office, since he was appointed in 2016 after Sheriff McKeithen retired early, Sheriff Ford claims that he has cut crime 50%. All right, if you add all of the crimes year by year by year, all of the years he's been in office, it comes to 38%. However, what he's not saying is that dangerous crimes are up. His own office does say that domestic violence is way up. So anyway, Andy Husar is correcting that on the record, and I'm glad he is.
There's issues that we need to figure out why that's going on. I know the League Coalition, when did they start? 3-4 years ago? A little longer than that? Longer than that, to help figure out the problem. How long?
10.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the thing, getting back out with the community, talking, listening, and trying to find out what's going on. The sheriff should be the sheriff for the entire county. In my opinion, I think the sheriff's race statewide should be a non-partisan race. It shouldn't be an initial past a sheriff's name. I've met with the old sheriff a couple times down in Gainesville. Yes. It should be the sheriff for everybody. It should be the sheriff for the minority political group in that county. Because Alachua County is polar opposite of Bay County. They are the majority. Yeah. It's for everybody. Everybody should be able to walk into the sheriff's office and talk. Anybody have any questions?
I'm gonna hold the mic just a minute there. So I'm gonna be the person to hold the mic, and if you both can just project it, that's okay. So.
I have to agree with you all for that touch on something. So I'm gonna start with what you're talking about, the active shooters. So you guys are at Highland Park, or you are actively right now, and I had my daughter there sometime last week. My days are running together, it's summer, sorry. And you guys were working. So obviously, as a 5-year-old in incoming kindergarten, I teach her to talk to strangers, not everyone's safe, she's a social butterfly, but when she heard what, she's like, oh, that sounds like bullets, right? So it occurred to me that I've never had that conversation with her about active shooter drills, and what do you guys do or recommend, like in the sheriff's department, for the little ones coming up who have no knowledge of how unsafe, unfortunately, our schools can be?
All right, I do want to address Troy's comment here. So what's interesting, Troy, is Andy Husar retired as a captain under Sheriff Ford earlier last year, to run, and chose to run against him in the election next month. Sheriff Tommy Ford There's 67 counties in Florida, so there's 67 sheriffs. Tommy Ford is the chairman of the Professional Law Enforcement Professional Standards Commission in Florida. And he has the ability to act with regard to the Lynn Haven police chief, who is a criminal defendant in a hit and run and still has his job. But the problem is, Troy, that Sheriff Ford and Police Chief Ramey are fishing buddies. They're really good friends. Sheriff Tommy Ford will not do anything. No matter what his position is, no matter what the principle is, no matter what the right thing to do is, no matter what the law is, he won't even make a comment about it. And it's worse than that. But anyway, so I think to your point, the disconnect, that one particularly is on Sheriff Ford. All right, now how about the kids being safe in schools?
I think it's important for parents to have those conversations with our kids. It's a very sad and unfortunate reality that we're faced with having to even train for that type of stuff. I would never have thought when I was in school that we would ever have to worry about that.
Right.
But it's something that we can't close a blind eye to. We can't say that it could never happen here. So I think number one is the parent's responsibility to start talking with their kids about how their kids can stay safe. We've got our school resource deputies. The district has school resource deputies in the elementary schools. We've got them in the high schools and the middle schools. It is a sad, sad conversation to have, but I think it's important that it starts at home and it continues in the schools. But it's something that we've placed a very heavy emphasis on because I've seen these heartbreaks from Parkland and Uvalde and some of these other places. And we've taken it from, just kind of training the tactical end of it, how our deputies are going to go in we use simunition weapons. And again, so sad that we have to do that on the school campus, to now expanding to active shooter incident management training. How are we going to manage that event? How are we going to manage family reunification? How do all the police departments and sheriff's office and EMS and fire and school district work together on those type of situations, praying that we never have to face that situation, but it is reality.
I'm sorry, so, for me, mine was chemical drills, where I was in West Virginia, I never had active shooter, but we also had, no, it's just a little bit, I'm sorry, just real quick, so, they do, presentations with kids with, fire safety and stuff, so is this something the sheriff department's doing from an educational standpoint to come in and, because we teach kids, okay, this is what we do when there's a fire safety drop, stop, drop, and roll. Is there anything like that, for the parents who unfortunately aren't as involved or willing to discuss this with their kids?
So Florida made a lot of really good changes in the system after Parkland and learned a lot from that. And I think anytime you have an incident, you have to use that as a learning tool to improve. And I know that legislation, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act, it kind of puts the onus on the school on those active shooter drills, those lockdown drills, but that's a good point. I don't know that, I think our school resource deputies are there and have the ability to talk to kids about that kind of stuff, but that may be something we can discuss further.
Let me respond to that. Having worked in the public school system, there are fire drills that are done periodically, and there's also, it's a crisis that is done periodically. And the children, the windows are closed, things drop down, curtains drop down. That answers your question. So yes, there is something in place to take care of incidences such as that. Okay, and that is directed by the Florida statutes for the schools, not necessarily the sheriff's department. In that, the sheriff's department is, as Sheriff Ford said, affords school resource officers to be there to assist in times of crisis.
Just change your vocabulary a little bit, get away from active shooter, teach your children active assailant. They can do just as much horrible crime and harm to the kids without a gun. But there are programs out there, run, hide, fight. Get with your superintendent, get with your school board members, explain to them how important it is to make that part of the curriculum. Just like fire drills. There's some people here that remember we used to do fire drills in school. There were some that my parents would talk about the old duck and cover for the incoming nuclear hiding under a desk. Go to the school, see if you can make it so part of the training, practice out, run, high, fight. There's simple things that they can do for the board. inside door frames, they don't live. He holds shapes, camera, something like that. We're not gonna get that going.
And I want to add that the legislature did pass down these directives, but they passed it down with no money. So that means they put the onus on schools to do what's called school hardening with no money. So be very clear, that is challenging. And even as we're talking about the support for law enforcement, it can minimize the things that they can do as well. So to center that for
Right,
you.
yeah, I think in my example was just, we would sit like in a general assembly and somebody would come in, of course, then it was about fire, and it was made in a kid-friendly manner instead of actually being in a classroom and mimicking it. So that was my, kind of where I was going with that, it's very sort of like informational, it's very kid-friendly that we do. Sorry.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. To answer that question, can we move to the next person?
Hold on, somebody else has a question.
For both of the candidates. From a law enforcement perspective, being that the sheriff office and the school board, and we have both of them in these schools. If you see a 4 or 5 year old, you talk about active shooters, come to school, this pertains to us, wearing a pull-up, a diaper, the first day of school, where's the problem? The parent or the child?
So notice all the way to the right. Do you see the guy in the green shirt all the way to the right of the picture? That's Arthur Cullen. That's the dumpster diver, the local political operative. Complete scumbag. And guess who is Sheriff Tommy Ford's campaign manager? Arthur Cullen. That's why he's there with his video camera going. Sheriff Ford has Arthur Cullen as his campaign manager. Is that unbelievable? All right, considering that it is election next month, you're not only going to be voting on state attorney, prosecutor, sheriff, but also for county commission. You see all the Tommy Ham signs. He's been there for too long, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, anyone who's paying attention. But you do have a choice. And I want to play this quick political ad before we go on to the answers to this question.
And I can rebuttal when I hear the answers. If a 4 or 5 year old comes to school, the first day of school, wearing a pull-up, who has the problem? The parent or the child? That's the right answer, right there. That child will be bullied, he will be picked at, he'll get tired of it, and when he gets 14, he gonna come in there and spray up the school.
Or it could be neither. It could be a child with
Well,
another.
listen,
Yeah.
it could be both. That's the right answer, right?
Yeah.
It's both.
My answer is both.
My answer is there could be neither. So there's never a case, so we can move along. Number one, bullying.
All right, I'm trying to get to their the rest of their answers.
Reference to recreational marijuana, I know at the GOP meeting, Mr. Ford, you said you view it as a gateway drug. I guess with that in mind and, the potential passage of it, what do either of you have in line to keep that from escalating with that viewpoint in mind that it is a gateway drug?
Andy, you want to go first this time?
Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps before you do that, the FDA has already moved it to state that it is not, in case you want to make sure you have that in mind as you answer your question.
Explain gateway drug.
So a gateway drug is deemed to be a drug that opens the door for other drugs. So if you start with marijuana, then it's state that you might go to other hard drugs. They're not realizing that prescription medications are more so the gateway drug and more so alcohol, not marijuana. So I would center that before you answer the question.
Okay.
Marijuana is regulated, maintained. In my opinion, who am I as a law enforcement officer to tell a medical doctor that's had 15 years of higher education that isn't what they don't know what to talk about with medicinal uses for marijuana? I can tell from personal experiences, I had a friend that was hurt over in Afghanistan that was on oxycodone, hydrocodone, every type of code you can think of, and every type of pen you can think of, Bazepam and all that, was able to get off of that stuff with medicinal marijuana. I've seen the benefits of people that have had broken necks, broken backs, that were prescribed fentanyl, that because of medicinal marijuana, they're no longer taking any of the prescription medication. As a gateway drug, you know what? The Mad Dog 2020, we used to get it. Narcotics, whether they're illicit or prescribed, can be a problem. There's no such as a gateway, no, because I've seen people that were legally prescribed medication, opioids, that unfortunately got addicted to the opioid. They're not doing writing scripts anymore for it, and they have used illegal means to get their physical addiction to the opioid. So you can look at from both things with marijuana. One, you get a question of doctor who's higher education. Two, there's a lot worse stuff out there that's legally prescribed that's a lot worse than legally prescribed marijuana. I'm on the fence recreational one. I've been in different states that's recreational. I can tell you when I was out in Arizona, I've never smoked it in my life, never touched it in my life. I want to see what the dispensary looks like. The security to get into the dispensary, recreational marijuana is legal. Amazing. Never saw a single joint, never smelled a single bit of marijuana, nothing. Yeah, I'm telling you, security, you pay security, you get your driver's license, they run you, make sure you have no warrant, they hold your license, yeah. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, but it's well regulated. And it's a sin tax, so the governments are building on it. Now, are they gonna abuse that? Heck yeah, they're gonna abuse it. People abuse things. People abuse alcohol. Bay County, the statistics just came out, is number one per capita per 1,000 people in the state of Florida for DUI and DUI acts. We rank higher than Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all that. Just
Wow.
alcohol's legal. Don't get confused.
So I don't make the laws, I enforce the laws. The voters spoke overwhelmingly several years ago on medical marijuana in a referendum and approved medical marijuana. So I respect that, and I think that it does have I know there are a lot of success stories on that, but I don't support recreational marijuana. I do think it's a gateway drug. I've worked drugs my whole life. Alcohol can be as well. I'm not saying that alcohol is a good thing, but we have to draw the line somewhere, and that's my position on that.
I have a question for the candidates. What do y'all think, that we need to do to bridge the gap between, when I was growing up, police officers, sheriffs, they were the good guys. They come in your neighborhood, they get out, they throw the football with you, shoot basketball with you, buy you a jeweler, knock on the doors and tell you, I'm your officer in your community, get their card, and we felt comfortable. Now, as a community, we see the police come through, they want to Lieutenant Black, we don't know if they're waving or not, we need to get back to that place. What do y'all propose to bridge that gap in the relationship between the sheriff's office and the community? Because like right now, it's like, we don't know if y'all are friends or against us, that has become a problem. Me being a basketball coach, being around there talking to young men, I ask them, how do you feel about police? They, and it's mixed, and I grew up in a law enforcement home. My dad was one of the first African-American police officers. So I know he should be in jail right now. His wife for beating me down. Please address that. What do y'all think to be a way to bridge that gap between the community?
So I can speak for the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Our primary jurisdiction is unincorporated areas, although we have jurisdiction throughout the whole county. I think some of the things that we are doing at the Sheriff's Office to bridge that gap, one is that school resource deputy program. seen as friends and mentors and coaches to the kids. I applaud the school district and the superintendent for increasing the size of the program to have those 2 SRDs at the high school. We also have a position at the sheriff's office called crime prevention deputy. I've got about 7 of them throughout the county. Callaway, these are areas that our primary jurisdiction, Callaway, Fountain, South Fork, Cedar Grove, a couple at the beach, maybe forgetting one, but their job is to be in the community, get to know the community, get to know.
Especially if somebody reports missing AirPods, boy, the sheriff will send 6 or 7 surround your house. Unbelievable. There's so much that you need to know before the election about Sheriff Tommy Ford and his abuse of power and malicious investigations and how they routinely go into people's private backyards and search them without a warrant and routinely do much worse than that.
The kids in the community have events. We have movie nights with kids. Captain Guilford runs our community services division, and you will rarely find a weekend that he does
He's not
have
busy.
his local folks out there working in the community. We were at the NAACP Summer Youth Explosion last weekend, the Glenwood Block Party, being in the community and a part of the community, and the programs that we have in the sheriff's office. I can't speak to the other police department on what programs they have, but I see Panama City out there as well.
Serpent community leaders, sitting down with community leaders. She's gonna establish a community leader in her county. Get with people like her and talk, gain her respect, gain her trust, work together as a team to go out in the community. I've known Eddie almost 25, 30 years. I know he is in his community. Everybody knows Eddie Bell.
Yes, unfortunately.
Anybody that's ever sold Mac and Walmart knows Eddie Bell. You make that relationship with those community leaders, just like the ones out in Mexico Beach, just like the ones on the west end of the beach. Get with them first, build that, and go from there. It's not a perfect way. It's not 100% solution, but you've got to start with getting your community leaders and community activists and being on the same sheet of music for that common goal.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
So I'm going to invite these candidates on the show. I know Sheriff Ford's not going to come on the show and State Attorney Bassford's not going to come on the show, but I'll invite them. I know that Andy Husar will, and we'll grill him. And the same with Eric Garman, who's running for state attorney against Larry Bassford. All right, with that, I just want to thank you for being with me. If you didn't see the beginning of the show, go back and watch the scammer that I dealt with today. I think you'll enjoy it and also learn a little something from it, I hope. Thank you, as always, to the Unknown Patriot. And also, of course, to all of you who throw a tip in the tip jar as little as $5 a month by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It is easy, it's anonymous, and you can quit at any time. All right, I will see you soon.